Hello, it is Thursday, August 3rd, 2023 at 12:41 p.m. Eastern Time, USA. This is my video journal. I'm Mitch Miller. I wanted to come on and talk about an article I read from the New York Post on Reddit last night about India and its dowry system and women being murdered for dowries because they didn't meet dowries. But first, a couple points I wanted to make about talcum powder, gypsum, and asbestos. One of my points I wanted to make was that we don't test the cosmetics that women smear on their face for asbestos. So do you think that they're testing drywall and plaster and finishing mud for asbestos? I highly doubt it. So there are millions of immigrants, blue-collar workers being exposed to this stuff all over the United States and the world, while the corporate executives sit in their air-conditioned offices and figure out the best way to suck every last penny out of every resident within their nation, right? So the second point I wanted to make was about the 300 banana argument. I published that on the trafnet.org website, right? And the point is, I have a telephone in my house. Anyone in the world can call me on that telephone and share their next big idea. And maybe I have a little capital and I can help them see that idea come to fruition. And my point was, if I'm limited in any way, if I'm flagged and not allowed to make those manual phone calls 300 a day to make a couple $100 a day selling bananas, but that's not a free market economy. The free exchange of ideas is a free market economy. The corporations, the corporate communists, keep all the good ideas for themselves and allow the made-for-TV advertising people have a few interesting ideas to try to sell to the rest of the population. It's not free market, and it's because one of the main reasons is because of our communication systems are all owned by private corporations. That's not free market. That's corporate communism. Call it as it is. The other thing I was going to say is the idea that these private corporations don't have to tell you what your internet speeds are. They're changing that now. But what your upload and download speeds are, and that they're locked in. This is another way that challenges the idea of freedom of speech. Well, back to the 300 bananas argument. Social media platforms look like you're freely exchanging ideas, but their algorithms might limit the ideas only getting out to 20 of your friends, 10 of your friends. It's not going out to the public, that's for sure. And the mix of advertising and things in on your feed limits you even more to how many ideas you can see in this internet of free ideas, right? It doesn't exist. Back to the freedom of speech, the idea that these companies like Comcast, these internet providers, can throttle down your upload and download speeds, and they don't have to lock in a contract with you to guarantee that you'll have this upload speed and this download speed, is a challenge to freedom of speech. Say you're a journalist like myself, an independent journalist, you have a podcast and a YouTube page, and say you found a public utility site like YouTube. I've never had issues with uploading anything to YouTube. I don't want to knock them, but hypothetically there could be video sharing platforms that are more of a public utility, podcast platforms that are more of a public utility. So say I have a ton of content I just got back from we'll say Europe, right? And I recorded a bunch of content for my journalistic enterprise, and I thought my internet upload speed was 300 or 200 megabytes per second or whatever. I started uploading audio from my podcast. I started uploading video from my YouTube channel, and the private corporations that provide my internet can throttle down the speeds so that I can only upload so much content per day, per hour, per minute, per second. And it's not necessarily what we agreed upon when I paid my bill, but they see all this content coming up, so they throttle it down, limit it, until they can sift through all the good ideas, take them for themselves, and leave the scraps for anyone that might want to hear intelligent journalism. Right, it's a limitation on freedom of speech, hypothetically. So, two ways that we live under corporate communism here in the United States. We do not have the social contract with the free exchange of ideas, the idea that anyone in my nation or anyone in the world can call me on the telephone and share their brilliant idea, and I can help them bring it to market. It's not a free market economy. Number two, we have impediments to freedom of speech. Private internet providers can limit how much information I upload to the so-called public internet, which is not a public internet because it's not a public utility. So voice should be a public utility, internet should be a public utility. These private companies operate with a system in conjunction with a system of corporate communism, and it's got to come to an end. That's why I put my argument up on the public internet that only 13 people can probably see, trafnet.org, but hopefully this grows, and it might explain why I haven't found anyone with capital to help me put forward my ideas. Alright, on to India. So I proposed the adolescent and teen game Duel, the paintball gun dueling pistols. It's in the peace treaty. And I said, if you help me develop these non-lethal weapons and allow me to reserve the rights to decide how to distribute it in your nation, I'll make sure your military gets plenty of prototypes, plenty of these toy weapon, non-lethal weapons. So in India, there's a situation where there was a traditional dowry system where the family of a woman paid her husband's family a dowry, money, gifts, cars, jewelry, whatever. This was outlawed in the 60s, the dowry system. It continues, it's grown, according to this article in the New York Post, it's grown even more prevalent since its outlawing. So it still exists, just not publicly acknowledged. And as a fallout of that, families of grooms continue to ask for more dowries as time goes on, instead of just a one-time payment at the time of the wedding. Some families persist and ask for more and more money and threaten the daughter, their welfare, if they don't receive certain gifts and money. And then when that isn't delivered upon, it seems like, according to this article, it's commonly accepted that the woman will be killed. There was a period of time where they were burned alive. Just a horrible situation with women in India. My heart goes out to them. And it's surely goes on all over the world, this type of abuses and stuff. The media tries to cover it, but then you put journalists in harm's way, and so on and so forth. Then the Navy SEALs got to bail them out of some crazy country, and you have a diplomatic event, right? So we'll get there gradually by working with the governments. But my proposal is this. When a couple gets married, again, they have arranged marriages in India. They also have a caste system, which the reason I'm doing this is I've been thrown in mental facilities, in solitary confinement, in prisons, as a way to keep me down in the lowest caste of the United States, the working class, welfare now, obviously, right? The welfare class, social security class. I can only imagine how the mental health system and prison industrial complex is abused in India, where there's a caste system, and how the lowest castes in that system are treated, strapped to beds, injected with pharmaceuticals, experimented on, so on and so forth. I don't want to knock India too much because they're the largest democracy, but they probably operate under the same system of corporate communism as the United States, where corporations provide the information sharing platforms and systems, and they can manipulate the free market economy accordingly. So I'm doing this for these low caste people who have been kicked around like me. So what I'm saying is, when a couple gets married, the father of the groom, the father of the bride have a non-lethal pistol duel. If the father of the bride wins the non-lethal pistol duel, they don't have to pay a dowry. The father of the groom wins a non-lethal pistol duel, then the family of the bride does pay an agreed upon dowry. I suggest a one-time payment, but if they continue to persist as time goes on after they have children and things, this dueling process could be brought back in to justify. So it's the honorable way of handling a dowry. There's 50-50 chance here that 50% of dowries will go by the wayside. Society, the Indian society, could adopt and unofficially accept this as the honorable way to decide whether a family pays a dowry. There's also talk in this article about the corruption of the police and the judiciary. This is a way we can circumvent those systems, make it an honor system, make it about two men honorably facing off about a monetary transaction, right? So these are the possibilities if we develop this non-lethal weapons company focused on dueling pistols. And if I have the ability to distribute within different nations to decide the distribution system, I would prioritize, obviously, the military, but prioritize families with daughters. And I would set up a online platform in the nation of India where fathers of daughters can share their dueling pistol sets with other fathers of daughters. And these fathers can practice with each other. They could practice with their daughters, right? Once they reach adolescence or teenage years, they could practice with their daughters. However that fleshes out, however that works out, means the empowerment of, it could mean the empowerment of women to a higher degree. It transitions things from a corrupt legal system, and the United States has a corrupt legal system too. I don't pull punches. I'm working off of information from the New York Post about India. It's the first in-depth article I've read about India, but I pointed out the corruption of the United States criminal justice system and all of the flaws of the United States, so I feel like it's fine for me to talk a little bit about some other nations. This is a video journal. This might go public someday, but for now, I'm not publishing it on my websites or my podcast or my YouTube channels. It's just here, exists on this video journal. But those are the possibilities we have if we develop these dueling pistols, right? I've already said how Israel and Palestine could settle differences in this way. Now we have a societal system within India for women being murdered, and the perpetrators of these murders not really seeing any prison time because it's a socially acceptable, or there's loopholes in the prison system, like if there's any form of torture at the police station when they're questioning the husband, then their confession and testimony is thrown out of the court. Loopholes like that. And there's even a movement in India, and I heard this on NPR, about how women are using laws designed to protect women to frame their husbands for rape and things like that. So there's different divides in India, and misogynistic, patriarchal movements to say that women are abusing the system instead of simply trying to use laws to protect themselves. So there's a lot of issues in the United States, a lot of issues in India. What I'm saying is, let's not wait around for the politicians to solve the problems because they're corrupt. They take payouts from corporations and lobbyists. Let's solve this with an honorable system between men. They square off in a duel, and whoever wins decides whether there's a dowry paid or not. And that's my suggestion for India. So hopefully, I don't know if Modi wants to reach out to me. I'm happy to work with India. I tried to contact him through the mail from Denmark because I was worried my mail wasn't going out from the United States, just like my telephone calls from my mobile phone. So I did try to reach out to India in some regard, and I hope that we can work together to solve societal problems in new and innovative ways, rather than through the traditional criminal justice and political system. Thanks for joining me. I don't know if I'll do another one tomorrow. I might. I didn't think I was doing this one today, but it came to me as I was walking. And as always, I wish you peace, prosperity, and homeostasis. Thanks.